It's very easy to spend a great deal of time talking about the negative aspects of the internet and all of that stuff. But there are some very positive things that are happening right now, especially in the world of AI. And like I said, we've spent a great deal of time pointing out some of the privacy issues and some of this other stuff that's out there. And those things are very real. However, if you know what you're doing, you can definitely chart a course that can really benefit you, your aspirations, and the aspirations of your family as well, including your children. And when it comes to education, I'm so big on that. This is, we really try to encourage people on this platform, to do your own research. This is something that oftentimes you hear people say, well, I did the research. I did my own research. But when you start talking to numbers of these people that say that, the research is just basically looking at Google Images or skimming through certain passages and stuff like that. But no, we've been through too much in this country to just simply dedicate a tiny slither of our time in, education and understanding, the world we live in and all of that. When we read about our ancestors, and our elders and what they had to go through just to get a slice of information, just to get a slice of education, and then you compare it to what you see today, it's really just worlds apart. One thing that I've been thinking about a lot of is when you go back in time, when you go back just about 50, maybe even 100 years, you'll find that there was a higher amount of people who were inventors, who were scholars, who developed things out of pretty much nothing. Particularly amongst us as Black Americans, you'll find there was a much higher rate of that then, when they hardly didn't have anything, than we have today. And it's really something, because now we live in the world of AI and in artificial intelligence. There are a number of things that we can do that can kind of bridge the gap, and we don't need to depend so much on the government, so to speak, to better schools, to get more teachers and all of that stuff. One of the things for me when it comes to education is I believe that education begins at home. It doesn't begin in a school. It doesn't begin in a brick and mortar place. It begins at home. It starts with the parents. And this gentleman here that I want to mention to you, you may have seen him in our chats and stuff every now and then. This is our dear friend Michael Roebuck, and I'm gonna just pull up. They got a press release out, so that's why I'm doing this now. But we have been talking for some time, and he has been developing an AI program that for homeschoolers, and we're just gonna look at it. He's got a few things on the website. I'll show you the website, and they have a little promo video. I'll show you that as well. But if you are a parent, and or a grandparent, or a guardian, and you have school-aged children, I would encourage you to pass this along to as many people as possible. And you make sure you look at it too, because I'm gonna tell you this right here, I'm very excited about. My children are long past this age. And I can say I was a homeschooling parent myself. We did the whole switcheroo thing. In our marriage, I was the one that was working, and then at a certain point we switched, and I was homeschooling, and then my wife, she was working and all of that stuff. So at that time we didn't have this, but man, this right here, it's quite fascinating. So I'm going to actually bring up their press release, and let's take a quick look at it right here. So this is them, a beautiful couple, beautiful wife. And there you go, Mr. Handsome there himself, Michael. And this is their program. It's called Coco Classroom. Love the name. And I'll just read it. We'll just go right here. And it says, I created Coco Classroom because I knew firsthand what it felt like to be unseen in the classroom. He said, growing up, I was often the only black child in the school, fighting for belonging, overlooked for my achievements, and mislabeled as a problem. Yeah, I know about that. When my daughter was born, I vowed her story would be different. I wanted her to grow up knowing her brilliance, her beauty, and her boundless potential. Coco Classroom is the platform I built to make that possible, not just for my family, but for families everywhere. And here are the 3 points here, and then I'm gonna switch up to the video so you can see the promo video. AI lessons generator, create lessons, quizzes, and worksheets in seconds. Wow, man, this is something, man. This is some kind of age we're in, y'all. Parent tools, quickly review recent student activity, track progress across courses, and view grades or report cards. And then you got smart scheduling, automatically generates daily learning plans based on your family's needs. And yeah, and it does a lot more than that. And in talking with Michael, I mean, the great thing he's got going on here is that he's got a team. He's literally got an team that he's not like he's just doing this by himself. But based on what he's telling me, he's got his own like IT team that has been helping him put this and develop this thing together. So it's been very exciting to read his updates and all of that. And let me go ahead and play this promo video that they put up. It's about a minute long. So let's take a listen and look at it. Okay. It's just a very exciting time that we're in right now, because one thing I've been really stressing to people, like, when we talk about Sabbatry on this platform, for example, is we're very serious. This ain't some kind of like, I'm just saying this just to say this. I'm very serious about this. And that is, I am trying to get as many of our people as possible out of these hospitals and really beginning to take care of our own health and wellness issues on our own. And so we committed ourselves to educate and tell people about it and all that stuff over on Sabbatry. But even now you got someone here in the world of education that it's likewise is thinking along the same lines as far as when it comes to educating. We can do this ourselves. We no longer have to be sitting up here begging and pleading and y'all, please, I hope they pass this bill that, that we'll get the money so that we can get school books. If you're still thinking that way, man, you are way behind. I mean, we're in an age right now where we can control the education trajectory of our children. And here you have a great example of that right here, right in your laptop, literally right in your laptop. And you can do it even on your phone. I'm sure if it's AI, you could do this even on your phone. But now is the time that we can start taking control of our children's education. I really see this as a dawn of a new era for real. And, and like I said, again, at the beginning of this video, yes, I mean, with technology and all of that, is going to come with its own set of concerns and things that we all should be aware of. But it doesn't mean that you just completely unplug, and this is a very exciting time. And I would really encourage you to go check out, Coco Classroom. Let me go ahead and pull up the website so you can see it for yourself. And I will also put the link in the description below so you could check it out. Coco Classroom. a sweet way to learn. Love it. And then when you go to the site, I had some time to look at it. You got to sign up for it. So you go ahead and you sign up for it. It'll give you kind of like an intro. You got to go through this and register and all of that. And then they'll walk you through the whole process there. So if you have any additional questions, I would encourage you to make sure that you go to the website and then go to the contact us form, which is down here below on the bottom right hand. Make sure you go and click on that, and then they'll, guide you through that. Let me see if I have they actually have a YouTube page here too. So this is the YouTube page. I remember he was at a what you call it, it was a convention, a homeschool convention in Vegas. And he said he got a very good reception. I mean, he was very surprised and happy of the reception that he got from there. So it's very, very, I'm very excited because if you jump on this, I'm telling you, you guys are going to go far. And so, like I said, if you have children, if you have grandchildren, because these schools, listen, I remember a while back, we were talking to some, well, actually, I did a couple of videos on this, and we were talking about teachers, public school teachers. Did you know? And they even looked at black public school teachers. Did you know that a high percentage of black public school teachers actually do not send their children to public school? Many of them will send their children to private school. Now, this is not to necessarily say that private schools is the best option, but even they know that, hey, this system, this educational system that has been set up by America Inc., it's not the best option for our children. It is not, and so you got private schools, which is it's a different option, and for many cases, it's the best option that works out particularly for working parents. But you also have the homeschool option. Now, what I want you to think about too, and then I'm done, is that when you think of homeschooling, don't necessarily think of, well, somebody's got to be home to teach. Yes, that is the optimum. But when you connect with other parents that are doing the same thing, you can work out situations where maybe a certain day of the week, you got the kids, and then you just switch it around within your group. This is why it's important to build up your trust networks, people that you have a history with, so that you can, trust, people with your children, when you're doing your thing. And so this is what makes the homeschool world really a really good option for parents and teachers. Parents, teachers, and students, when it comes to taking control of our children's education. And so, yeah, so don't fall in that trap because I've spoken with a lot of parents who believe that they have to be home or somebody has to be home. Yes, ultimately, yes, you're going to have days where you're home and, you're doing your thing and teaching them. But you can also work out situations where if there's other parents in your community, in your area, that's also doing the same thing, you can work out a situation where you guys are sharing the load. And I'm pretty sure that, what they're doing with Coco Classroom here is that people who sign up, I'm sure they're able, if they're using AI, they got to be doing this. Like, you'll have the ability to see who's in your area, and then you can link up, network, and do all that kind of stuff. So this is a really good option. And I'm so glad to see somebody or him and his wife that are passionate and compassionate enough to take on such a task like this. Because again, I think the day of brick and mortar, schools, institutions, it's pretty much, I think it's fading away, and so, but that doesn't mean that the educational need isn't. We need to have a high standard for education for this upcoming generation that cannot wane. You know what I'm saying? And this, I think, is a very good option for that. So make sure you check them out. and let's go and let's get these kids on a much higher plane, and let's optimize their education. So go ahead and check them out. Like I said, I'll have their descriptions and stuff below so you can check them out on your own. Thank you so much for tuning in to this video. You guys take care, and I'll see you again soon.